I'm Shirley. In today's digital economy and influencer-driven era, more and more individuals taking image-based careers such as influencer, celebrity, or live stream host. This profession heavily depends on personal appearance and content production, making clothing and styling an integral part of their work. However, whether these clothing expenses can be deductible in their account, normally these business expenses remain in gray area in taxation. So this video going to explore whether an individual can claim clothing expenses as business deduction in Malaysia tax system.
Clothing expenses refer to the costs of purchasing outfits, accessories, footwear, and similar items for the purpose of public appearances, performances, filming, or live streaming. These expenses generally fall into two categories. 1. Special purpose costumes. Costumes used for stage performances, brand-specific campaigns, or dramatic roles, typically worn only for specific commercial content. 2. Everyday fashion wear. General clothing such as t-shirts, trendy fashion items, and regular outfits, which can be worn in daily life and lack exclusivity for work. Tax principles under Malaysian law. According to guidelines from the Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia, LHDN, for any expense to qualify as a business deduction, it must meet two conditions. 1. It must be incurred in the production of taxable income, and 2. It must not be of a private or domestic nature. For influencers, celebrities, or live streamers, the unique nature of their work does create overlap between personal and professional use. However, not all clothing expenses qualify for deduction. If an outfit is exclusive, used only for a specific video or campaign, and not for daily wear, it may be accepted as a content production cost. Conversely, if the outfit can also be worn casually, it is more likely to be considered personal expenditure and therefore not deductible. If operating under a private limited company structure, the clothing expense may be processed as part of content production cost, event representation expense, or employee board of director benefits. But proper documentation and separation from personal consumption are critical. Risks and tax planning advice. Although certain clothing expenses may be legally deductible for influencers, celebrities, and live streamers, they remain a contentious area within the tax system due to the blurred line between personal and professional use. As such, several key risks must be considered. Firstly, the purchase of high-end designer clothing often raises significant scrutiny from tax authorities. Items such as luxury handbags, branded shoes, or couture outfits may be perceived not as essential business costs, but rather as personal indulgences. Unless clearly tied to a specific commercial event or campaign, these purchases risk being disallowed as tax deductions and could be seen as attempts to disguise private expenditure as company costs. Secondly, clothing that is worn repeatedly or suitable for everyday wear poses another challenge. Even if such attire is used during content production or public appearances, the fact that it can also be worn outside of work reduces its exclusivity for business purposes. Tax authorities may argue that the dual-use nature of such items disqualifies them from deduction, as the clothing serves both personal and professional functions. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the absence of proper documentation or content linkage significantly increases the risk of reclassification. Without clear records, such as receipts, production plans, or visual evidence that a particular outfit was used for a specific video, campaign, or performance, the taxpayer may find it difficult to justify the expense as business-related. In such cases, the Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia, LHDN, has the authority to reclassify the claimed deductions as non-deductible, potentially resulting in additional taxes, penalties, or even audits. To mitigate these risks, it is essential that professionals in image-based careers maintain detailed records, including invoices, production notes, and screenshots of the content where such clothing was used. Where possible, clothing expenses should be planned and budgeted as part of a broader content production or marketing strategy. By adopting a structured and transparent approach, individuals can better align their wardrobe investments with legitimate tax-saving practices while remaining compliant with Malaysian tax regulations. Conclusion. In summary, clothing expenses incurred by influencers, celebrities, or live stream hosts can qualify as business deductions under specific conditions if the clothing is clearly for business purposes, not used privately, and supported by proper documentation in compliance with Malaysian tax regulations. With strategic planning and compliance, these professionals can transform their image-related investments into legitimate tax-saving tools, achieving both brand enhancement and fiscal efficiency.
So this is the video that I want to share today. I hope you like it. Thank you for watching.